If you clicked on this video, chances are you have an MMI coming up and you want to learn how you can smash your interview to secure your place at medical school. Hello, my name is Radhika. I am a first year medical student at Queen's University Belfast. Today I'm going to be giving you guys 5 tips to smashing the MMI, and also at the end of this video I'm going to give you 7 or 8 MMI style questions so that you can get a feel for what a full MMI circuit is really like. Everything that I'm mentioning in this video is from personal experience and what I used to help me with my MMI prep that got me my place in medical school. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and let's get started. Tip 1. Talking slow equals better answer. As someone who is Indian and also Irish, I talk very fast naturally. The way I'm speaking right now is not how I naturally speak. I have to really slow my speech down, and I found that when I was doing my MMI prep, every single person I practiced with said, "You gotta slow down." And they were right. Talking slowly gives you more time to think, and it actually is better in terms of the way you answer questions because it shows that you're actually thinking. You're like taking the time to logically structure your answer, and you're not just rushing into it without fully understanding or listening to the interviewer. I think a general benchmark is after every few words, just take a pause for like a second and then move on. It gives the interviewer time to actually process what you've said without getting bored. Another thing is that if you talk too quickly, you risk running out of things to say. I remember at the start when I was preparing, I would speak so quickly for like 2 minutes that I wouldn't have anything else to say after that, and then it would just be really awkward. Also, remember that you actually do have enough time to speak. You have around 5 minutes to speak, and honestly, that is more than enough time. If you speak too quickly, I guarantee that by 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes, you'll have nothing else to say, or you'll just randomly remember things like maybe 4 minutes into the question, and then you'll be like, sorry, I need to add this, sorry, I need to add that. And it just comes across messy and unprofessional, which isn't really the vibe you want to go with. So just remember to try and talk a little bit slower, but at the same time, sound natural and confident. You don't want to sound like a robot either. That's not a good look. Tip 2. How to cope with the variety of questions. MMIs are known for being very random. I only had one interview and that was MMI, and I quickly realized how different it was to doing a panel interview. With an MMI, one station could be you going through your personal statement, the next station could be a role play where you're having to deal with an angry patient, and you're constantly having to switch sides in your brain. It can be really overwhelming and quite confusing at the start. My advice here is to create a Quizlet folder and add a bunch of questions onto flashcards and then do these in random order. So for example, you could write on a flashcard, why do you want to study medicine? You could then write on another flashcard, give me an example of where you worked as part of a team, and do this for like loads and loads of questions, and just basically add lots of questions into one specific folder and then shuffle them. So you could do maybe 10 at a time, and that's one MMI circuit. Doing this, it means that you're forced to think on your feet. You have to constantly switch from one side of your brain to the other, and it means that when you go to do the actual MMI, you will be prepared for that. It won't come across as a huge surprise. It also means that you're less likely to get flustered, you're less likely to stumble, and also that you're just going to come across as having more coherent answers. Tip 3. Do basic research. So since coming to medical school, I have actually been a mock interviewer maybe 3 or 4 times now, and it's a really cool experience. But something I've noticed is that it's a little bit shocking how some people don't even know what style of teaching the medical schools they have applied for use, and some people don't even know how their medical school actually works and the type of schedule that the students have on a day-to-day basis, which is really shocking. Like, if there's anything you take away from this video, it's that you need to know your medical school inside out. When I was applying for medical school, I made sure that I went through each and every school that I was applying for. I knew what style of teaching they used. I knew where they taught, so which buildings I would predominantly be in, and any unique features. So I'm going to use my medical school, Queen's, as an example. So the medical school I go to uses case-based learning, which is very similar to PBL, but it's slightly different in that we're given a case and it is heavily focused on teamwork, communication, organization, independent study, basically a lot of skills that are very useful in the future as a doctor. The reason having all of this information is very important is because you can add it to your answers to show that you are the perfect person. So for example, if I got a question on teamwork, I could answer the question and then at the end, to really impress the interviewer and show them that I am serious about attending this medical school, I could add something like this: I feel that my ability to work well in a team will also help me during my CBL sessions and my small group teaching, because I'll have to show good communication and listening skills. Just adding a simple sentence like that, it really just, improves the answer, and also it shows the interviewer that yeah, this person has actually done research into how our medical school teaches, and that's really attractive. Also, just make sure that you read about any unique features of your medical school. So for example, mine does cadaver dissection, we get early clinical contact, and also there's a huge importance placed on family medicine, all of which I was very interested in, hence why during my interview I mentioned that, just to show that yeah, I'd actually read about the medical school, and I kind of tried to relate everything back to like my interests and my extra reading. Also, it goes without saying, but the NHS, hot topics and ethics, you have to read about them. I haven't dedicated a full tip to that because I feel like it's pretty obvious. You can definitely mention ethics in loads of different questions to pick up extra marks and to also again show your interest in medicine. Tip 4, you need to be likable. We have all met that one person that is just so pleasant. They're so friendly and cheerful. I think of Carol from BBC Breakfast because, I don't know, she just seems like such a nice person. I am sure that you are a nice person, but the interviewer also needs to see that you're a nice person. And sometimes if you're a little bit shy or low in confidence, it can be hard to I suppose bring out, a more energetic, a more vibrant version of yourself. So my tip for that is to record yourself. Recording yourself when you're practicing MMI style questions, it gives you a chance to actually hear how you speak. It gives you a chance to see your facial expressions. And also, I just think it's a really nice way of adding a bit of fun to MMI practice. You can also actually measure your progress if you do this. You'll see how much you have improved if you start videoing yourself. I saw videos of myself at the start and then versus a week before my interview, and I could just see the jump in confidence, fluency, and even just the way I was speaking and presenting myself. I was just coming across so much better. Also, on the actual day of your interview, make sure that you are wearing smart casual clothing. This is my MMI outfit, and also very simple makeup, nothing too fancy. Just making sure that you look put together will really help not only improve your own confidence, but I feel at the same time it also creates a very good impression, and it shows the interviewer that yeah, you're ready to smash it. Tip 5, make a book or a Word document with key points. So I had a notebook. Every time I learned something new, either through watching YouTube videos or doing my own research, I would write down a question and then I would use a specific framework. So for example, the STAR framework, to write down bullet points. Doing this meant that I always had a very quick reference guide as to what I should be mentioning if I wanted to hit marking points on the mark scheme, but at the same time it meant that I had something to go through. A few weeks before my interview, I was just going through this booklet and making sure I could remember everything, and it was basically a quick revision summary. Having something like this is also very useful because you can get very similar questions. For example, why do you want to be a doctor is actually very similar to why do you want to study medicine, but if I was being asked why do I want to study medicine, I would probably mention more of the science and research side of medicine, whereas why do you want to be a doctor, I would mention more of the interpersonal skills. I'd mention more about empathy and personal experiences, and if I had those side by side on a page, I could just compare the answers that I would say. Even though they're very similar, they also are slightly different. So having a book or a Word document, it just gives you the opportunity to like see your model answers almost and just revise them. You could have one section for ethics, you could have one section for the NHS, you could have one for personal questions. It's just a great way to consolidate your learning like 1 or 2 weeks before your MMI. Okay, so now that I have given you guys my 5 top tips on how to smash the MMI, I will leave you with, as promised, my full MMI circuit. It's just a quick mock of maybe 7 to 8 questions that you can go through, and then mock answers will come up on the screen, just like little points that you can add to your answer. I've also linked some stuff down in the description box for you to check out. Everything that I've linked I've either used myself or I've read over, just to make sure that it is like a good resource that will actually help you with your preparation. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more of my life as a medical student, then make sure to click subscribe down below and also follow me on my Instagram. And without further ado, here is the full mock MMI circuit.